Hey folks, Jack Spencer here again, Practical Golf for All. If you've seen my previous videos, we've gone through like a full swing down through. The last one was a bunker. Today I'm going to talk just a little bit about putting. And when I say a little bit, it's because it's probably the most unique stroke to an individual in the game of golf. There's no proper way to putt and there's no improper way to putt. There's your way to putt. I mentioned earlier in the video about getting fit for clubs, and I really believe that if you have the wherewithal to do that and the ability, once you have your swing, then it would benefit you to be fitted. But for a putter, because typically people don't do a whole lot of changes, arm position, club face, elbow, whatever. You know, a good putter fitting is pretty essential, because if you have a putter fitted to your stroke, you're going to consistently strike the ball more square, which is going to, number one, start the ball on your intended line, and number two, control the speed. Takes two of the variables out of it, then you're just left with green reading. So depending on your stroke, that's probably, they'll start there. And I have this particular putter, this mallet, it's a face balance putter. If you balance find a balance point, put it on your finger, the face is pretty much pointing up in the air. That particular putter works best for an individual who has pretty much a straight back and straight through putting stroke. That's face balance. This putter is a toe hang putter. Find a balance point here. See, when I do that, you can see the face is kind of pointed down at an angle, and they make that according to the face of a clock. That's probably about a 3:30, 4 o'clock face balance. This type of putter is more for someone whose stroke is a slight arc. Inside on the way back, square, and then inside again, on the forward stroke. So, I mean, that obviously is a factor when it comes to your own putting stroke. Now, there's a whole bunch of gadgets out there, mirrors and lasers, things like that, and I'm not saying they're bad. The thing that you want to do, though, is consistently strike the ball square with your putter face. And what I use, it's pretty simple actually. I have a ball that I ran through one of those machines that supposedly finds, the perfect balance point or whatever. Drew a line on it, and then I just colored in half of the ball with a Sharpie. You put this ball down and line it up. You can do it on a carpet, anywhere you have an opportunity to practice at home. And just practice stroking this. Until you get to the point where it's rolling perfectly end over end. That means you're striking it with a square face consistently. If it wobbles a little bit, then you know that you're either cutting across it, or from outside in, inside out, or you're holding your putter face maybe a little bit open, more open at contact than what you addressed it, or more closed at contact than how you had addressed it. It'll tell you, sightline feedback right away. I think mirrors and lasers, they're distractions. They work for some people, but this is just a real simple, everybody has a golf ball. It's a real simple positive feedback with each stroke. And if you work with this, you'll know that at least you're striking the ball squarely with your putter face. And people can do that. Billy Mayfair made a ton of money on tour. He cut across his putts for years. But with his particular stroke, and he knew what he was doing, he started it with the speed and the line that he wanted it. I wouldn't recommend it, but anyway, I don't know if he could have rolled one of these perfectly end over end, but I know I can't if I intentionally, strike it poorly. So that's my own little tidbit. I mean, putting is just so unique, I'm not going to harp on it. It's something that I think, number one, find your stroke, just like, you know, find your swing. Except the putting stroke, I think, is a little easier to find because they can be so variable. You know, and then, you know, if you're still struggling a little bit, you might want to have your putter looked at. And you might have an arc stroke and you're using a face balanced putter and it's just not working out for you that well. Or maybe you need the loft tweaked a little bit. You know, some people, you know, most putters are, you know, 3-4 degrees aloft. That's a fair amount. Some people do better with like 2 degrees, depending on their stroke, depending on how they strike the ball when they're putting. I think a good putter fitting is probably warranted for most of us because it's not only efficient, but it's probably the one stroke you're really not going to change a whole lot. So that's my only putting tidbit. I'm going to put a few more videos on getting into a few things in a little bit more detail, especially weight shift and you know, shoulder turn, because I think those two things in the full swing are very, very important. And I touched on them somewhat briefly before, but yeah, I'm going to go, and then we'll get into some crazy things, maybe a little, you know, how to intentionally hit a hook or a fade, whatever. But you know, this kind of concludes the beginning of these little videos that I'm making. And please, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. I would welcome any feedback. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed it.